What it do, flight crew? FTC. Flight team stand up. Hey, man. All jokes aside, alright. As a Longhorns fan, this video, I'm not gonna lie, it was kind of, you know what I'm saying? I kind of enjoyed making this video, I'm not gonna lie, man. But that's beside the point. Today, we're gonna talk about that Oklahoma 2019 recruiting class, specifically the wide receiver, you know what I'm saying? And, you know, what happened to him, man, because they ain't really been making no noise, man, you know what I'm saying? Just being real, man, but let's get into it, man.
Wide receiver Trajan Bridges is a new 5-star in the newly released Rivals 100, and there's one main reason. There's a lot of reasons to like him. I mean, he's a good route runner. He's a guy that, you know, gets off the line of scrimmage with ease, very quick feet, good after the catch, elusive. You watch him on film as well, and he can do pretty much anything you want to just set up a defensive back and make him look foolish. But I'll tell you what, this kid's ball skills are off the charts. I don't like to compare people to Odell Beckham Jr. when it comes to ball skills, but Trajan Bridges is right up there. And he's got a similar build as well. He's not the biggest wide receiver in the world, so there was some debate whether his size translated properly, but when we saw him make catch after catch, and I'm talking some circus catches, I'm talking some really excellent body control and some not one-handed grabs like Odell Beckham Jr., but very difficult catches off balance at the 5-star challenge. And the way he played this spring and summer, he just showed that he can get separation anytime he wants. He can do whatever he wants and set up defensive backs, but he can also make a quarterback look very good. You don't have to throw a good ball for this kid to catch it and make a play on it, and that's the quarterback's best friend right there, because if you don't put it in the right place, Trajan Bridges is still going to catch it. I think he's going to be a tremendous slot receiver.
So first, we're going to start from the lowest ranked receiver, you know what I'm saying, no shade, but, we're going to go from bottom to the top, you know what I'm saying? So, first we're going to talk about Trajan Bridges, man, you know what I'm saying? This boy from my area, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, he went to Hebron High School, you know what I'm saying? He started off as a 5-star, but, he committed kind of early in his high school recruiting cycle, so that kind of dropped him down. But Rivals still has him as a 4-star, but everybody else, Rivals still has him as a 5-star, but everybody else got him as a high 4-star, pretty much. And, he's like not the fastest receiver, right? But he could run routes and he could jump real good. Like, he like a basketball player when the ball's in the air, you know what I'm saying? And he's real physical. So that was his biggest attributes, because he's not fast. He's not that fast, man. He wasn't that fast. And he was actually like really good with the ball in his hands. That's why, a lot of, like, you see, I should be playing the highlights right now so you can see, but they moved him around a lot. They had him taking snaps everywhere and stuff, so because he was that good with the ball in his hands, you just like, he was one of those players that you just give him the ball and shoot. Yeah. And then shoot, when he got to Oklahoma, you know what I'm saying? Well, got into some trouble. He got into some trouble, man. He got into some trouble, a couple times. First, it was for the, the suspicion, the failed test, the suspension from that, because he was gone for a whole season for it, you know what I'm saying? Which I think was they kind of did him dirty. I ain't gonna lie, they did him dirty. And then after that, he was poised to come back and make his comeback season. He gets caught up with the police now, you know what I'm saying? That whole situation, then he get kicked off the team, man. Along with boy Mikey Henderson, went to Ranch View. That's around my neck of the woods too. and the boy Seth McGowan, man. So Seth McGowan was a good young player. He was gonna be something, but yeah, you know, he could never stay out of trouble long enough, I guess, to make that impact he was supposed to make. Next, we're gonna talk about, in my opinion, you know, a receiver in this recruiting class for Oklahoma that panned out the best.
You have to like what you see from Oklahoma wide receiver commit Theo Weiss at the Rivals 100 5-Star Challenge presented by Adidas, because he came out and he targeted the number one player in the country, the top cornerback, Derek Stingley. Now again, offensive players have the advantage in these one-on-ones. There's no doubt about it. They know where they're going. The timing, you know, is easy to sync up with their quarterback. And, you know, you're put on an island. You have no safety coverage to help. But that being said, Weiss ran some very good routes against Stingley. Ran some very good routes throughout the day as well. He was dominant last year as an underclassman at this event, and looks about the same size. He hasn't gotten much bigger, which is fine because he is a big enough wide receiver. He's gotten faster. He's gotten more fluid. Those are the things you look for. You want these guys to want it as well, and he's got that want to about him. You know, he knew who he wanted to go against. The only person he went against that I saw in the one-on-ones was Derek Stingley, and this kid can do it all. Catch it, balance, body control, route running, you name it. So there's a reason Theo Weiss is one of the top 5 players in the country.
Theo Weiss. Now, you know, he's the second highest rated out of the 3, but he seemed like he don't get his respect. You know what I'm saying? Like everybody else do. But you know, if you look at the stats, he's pretty much panned out the best out of these 3 guys, you know what I mean? And he's the only one that's still there right now. And you know, yeah, but you know, he was a consensus 5-star, you know what I mean? And then he was like the number 1 ranked receiver in Texas. He was a top 5 player in Texas, you know what I'm saying? So he was pretty highly touted. And he actually like decommitted from Oklahoma, but then recommitted. So there's that. And then, you know, and then when he did get to Oklahoma, he's producing, but like not on 5-star level, you know what I'm saying? But that's kind of due to the system too, because, you know, you look at Marvin Mims, he should have way more, you know, his stats should look a little bit better on paper, but the way the system is set up, you know what I'm saying, they not really had no true number 1 guy since CeeDee Lamb. But that doesn't take away from the fact that Theo Weiss is a good receiver. But he has had some injury troubles, you know what I'm saying, that's kind of held him back a little bit from being, not for having that true breakout season.
Georgia wide receiver commitment Jaden Hasselwood had an excellent 5-star challenge. He was a standout at the Rivals 100 5-Star Challenge presented by Adidas. I thought his day was done in the one-on-ones. He dove for a ball, landed awkwardly, missed the rest of the one-on-ones, and I thought he was going to sit out the 7-on-7. Again, what does he have to prove? He's a 5-star kid. He's already committed, but he showed some heart. He showed the willingness to play through pain. He was also one of the guys who was willing to run in the fastest man competition, which is not a flattering competition at all, fastest on the field, because it's laser timed and very difficult to put a great time. But he was competitive from the beginning of the event to the very end. In 7-on, he really showed out, much more than I think in the one-on-ones. That's where he was dominant. He's much bigger than he was last year when he was one of the more dominant players in this event. And the reason he became a 5-star was how well he performed last year. He's much bigger in the lower body especially, and that adds to more explosion. It adds to more strength. It adds to better leaping ability, and I think he's a kid that's difficult to handle because it's hard to press cover him. He's such a big physical kid now, whereas before he was sort of a lanky wide receiver who found his spots. Now he can get to where he needs to be using power and that explosiveness that he's added. And he's got tremendous hands. He catches balls that are not thrown perfectly. So Jaden Hasselwood had a very, very good event.
last but not least, we got the number one ranked receiver in the class of 2019, Jaden Hazelwood out of Atlanta, Georgia, man. You know, hey, what more can I say about this dude's recruiting, man? His recruiting was crazy. First, he was committed to Georgia, you know, and then he ended up at Oklahoma. You know, I'm gonna make the long story short. You know what I'm saying? So that was he ended up at Oklahoma. You know what I mean? And then, you know, when being the number one recruit, right? You know, when you get there, you expect them to put big boy numbers up. Big boy numbers. Now, for his first year, he didn't, you know what I'm saying? Like, his first years at Oklahoma, he kind of had the same problem as Theo Weiss is having now, where, like, he's not producing at the 5-star level, but he was still producing. And then, you know, he had some injury trouble that kind of held him back a little bit, too. But now, you know, I guess due to, you know, some coaching changes and scheme changes, he is transferred to the University of Arkansas. So, hopefully he could, you know, be that guy over there and then live up to the number one, you know what I'm saying? Live up to his rankings. Live up to the rankings. You know, and that's going to conclude the video right here, man. So, yeah, you know, I'm a Longhorn fan. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't biased here, and I wasn't hating, man. You go back and listen to the video. I was not hating on nobody, man. I was just stating facts. You know what I mean? So, yeah, I'm out.